Don't do that.
Like, okay, so I know that, like, I know my way around a little bit around this radio area.
Yes.
And I always pictured you guys in the
like,
in the big Z
actually
room.
in the studio, in the real studio.
When you're like, it is hot in here, I'm like,
how can it ever?
It's like the biggest room ever. Like, man, it must be really hot all the time.
It's because our conversations are intense.
Two guys, one podcast. I'm one guy. No, I want to hit you in the face. You were the worst one. Two guys, one podcast.
And I'm the other.
He's the only one that hides behind a mask.
Yes.
So does Batman.
Two guys, one podcast. In the studio this week is our Romanian friend.
Hello. Guess what, Andre? We are going to be citizens today.
Two guys, one podcast. And this is the podcast. You're on, let's see, I'm going to turn you up and I'm going to turn you down a little bit. And I'm going to turn me
down.
Right. You know, I'm going to turn.
It's always up.
I'm the most important one. I think I've made that clear.
I think that's hurtful and unnecessary.
It's not even true. All right, you gentlemen ready?
Yes.
I was born ready.
Welcome to Two Guys, One Podcast. I'm one guy.
And I'm the other.
And this is the podcast. In the studio this week is our Romanian friend.
Hello.
Woohoo! I'm so excited.
You've got to see, this was another thing that I was going to make the Romanian blush with tonight, but you and I were exchanging text messages this morning as this all came into focus as a thing that was actually going to happen.
Yeah.
And your response to the news that Andre was going to be on the show tonight was what?
Fuck yeah. My nipples just got hard.
It's very exciting. We just a couple of weeks ago, which was like, honest to God, a dream of mine. We had Adam Dale in the studio. If you haven't heard that episode yet, go back.
Which was not a big deal for me.
Well, that's because you grew up with him.
Yeah.
He's still a famous person to me. He's that guy that I know from iTunes. Adam Dale, you can listen to that in episode 55. Yes, 2 episodes ago. But now we have another, he's a longtime friend of both of ours, but he's kind of famous in his own right. Andre, the Romanian, ladies and gentlemen. Yay! You and I and other guy met in college.
Yes.
Yes.
Correct.
You were a theater major, but you weren't a theater major. You were a theater grad student when we met. Yes?
Correct.
Is that
100% true?
I was wondering, because I couldn't figure out why I didn't know you sooner.
I was trying to. You were a history major in your undergrad,
right?
Yeah.
So during our undergrad, we would have never.
But I thought did you start coming and doing stuff in the theater department before that?
Only like the quarter before I started in grad school, like
just to tip your toe in the water, and
correct.
then you're like, yeah, that'd be fun. I'm going to do it.
I think I was in almost every one of your acting classes.
That's 100% correct as well.
Yeah. Affirmation.
Yes.
Now,
yeah, man.
Now, anyone who has listened this far on the podcast already really, really likes you, but that was not the case for me when I first met you. What was your opinion of me first? You're like that's a decade ago. I have no idea what I thought of you. I thought he was fake. I've told you this. I thought I was. There's no way that anybody can be this happy and positive and bubbly and love everybody. It's just got to be bullshit. It's just got to be bullshit.
I don't know. I never thought that.
I was just waiting. I was like, any day now, the other shoe would drop, and this candy crust will crack.
I will tell you a story that I had with our acting teacher about you.
Oh, wow.
That I don't think he or I have ever told you, or that you ever were privy to.
Great.
It's gonna be a surprise.
Okay. So let me just say first quickly, for one guy, I didn't have any classes with him at all. And our friendship didn't grow until we did summer theater together in Ohio.
Which is probably why I thought differently, because we took classes together.
Correct.
Yeah.
And so I would just see one guy like at work calls, and I'd be like, hey, buddy, let's go.
And I was like, fuck you. I don't know you. I don't know who you are, where you come from, but this nonsense must stop. We were thrown
I
together.
was on the set of a children's show. God
Seriously,
damn it.
we were thrown together like an episode of The Odd Couple or something. And not only did we live together that summer, you needed a ride there.
Oh yeah,
Right? Yes? No?
No. I had my own car there.
No, but
my
you
car broke
rode
down
back with
on the
me.
way. Yes.
Yes.
My car broke down in Ohio, and we left it. Like I took off.
Did you ever go back and get it?
Never. I took off the license plate and scrubbed it down.
No.
And it
Why
is
would
there.
you scrub it down?
Just take out all all evidence that it ever was mine.
He didn't want.
You're a criminal.
I'd forgotten.
Yes.
Somewhere a stadium in Ohio is making notes. All right, he's a Romanian and he's in the entertainment industry.
Well, no,
After
why
I
didn't you
find
just
his-
go to a wrecking yard and be like, hey, look, if you come and pick this fucking car up, it's yours, $500.
Would have been great.
Why did you didn't like that would literally take like 2-3
That
hours.
would literally
man
be
is-
like a month's salary at the theater we worked at.
No, but why didn't you do that?
This man is from another culture,
Yes.
my friend. His ways are not our ways.
right.
Car breaks down on this side of the road, and your first thought is, I gotta get rid of this. Like, no one can know it's mine. Gotta take the license plate, let me rub it down, put on some gloves, douse bleach all over it. There's no proof that this car was ever mine.
You know how like in Japan, like when you diminish the pride of the family, you have to
Yes,
commit
yeah.
suicide or whatever and
Right.
fall on the sword. In Romania, when your car dies, you have to hide all evidence that you had anything to do with that
Now,
vehicle.
why did you think to do that?
I just thought, I don't want this car anymore. It doesn't work. I don't
And
live
it's-
in this town.
It's worthless.
It's not worthless. Like scrap metal. Like you could have, they would have come and hauled it for free and given you $500 minimum.
You say that. I wouldn't have known that necessarily.
mean-
especially like
like as a 21-year-old.
14 hours from home. Yeah.
I guess I grew up on a hard life, man. You always think the way to make paper.
That's yeah. I understand. That's something that didn't occur to me until after graduating grad school. And I'm like, wait, how do I pay for this? Yeah.
Wow. No, so your parents paid for college and stuff for you?
No, like my first quarter, I had all the scholarships that you could have.
Right.
All the state scholarships. And by the end of the first quarter, I had lost them all because of not going to class. Because it wasn't like I partied. I just had the freedom of skipping class anytime I wanted.
You are painting I'm getting a completely different picture than I have ever had of you.
No. This aspect is one.
I'm a lazy criminal.
This
It's
aspect
is not was never on the list of things I thought you were until tonight.
this aspect is one that I'm well acquainted with. I like the story of mine and Andre's love affair has to begin with the name Kiefer Sutherland.
Yes, 100%.
I didn't like him. I did not
Really?
like him until he shared 24.
Kiefer brought you together.
Bond
Yeah.
us, yeah. And
Yeah.
not the A Few Good Men Kiefer either.
No.
The Jack Bauer version.
Okay, so we move into this situation.
I've
It's
never seen an episode.
It's a 2-bedroom, like one bath, little, very small apartment, and all of the actors in this outdoor drama and all of the crew, for that matter, are housed in this same apartment complex. And so you split it up like 4 people to a unit. And unless you knew somebody, you were just kind of jammed in there together. Andre, myself, and our buddy the professor, we all knew each other because we came from the same college.
So there was a fourth guy who didn't
Yes.
know you guys.
Yes.
and
Fourth guy
That
from
had
Alabama.
to suck to be that guy.
I imagine
He was definitely a black sheep. Like,
he wasn't the only black guy in the apartment, but he was a black guy, and he was a black sheep. That's true. He was also the only gay guy in the not only in our apartment complex.
No. You're not about to tell me that there was only one gay guy in your outdoor theater.
I think he was that year.
I can't think of another one from that year.
Is there any dancing in this show?
No, there's no dancing. Like
maybe.
we're a fight heavy show. You guys were a dance heavy show. So you had a
Yeah.
lot. We had very few homosexuals. No, the costumer was homosexual that
Definitely
year too.
big time.
Good call. So that's 2.
I loved
It's 2 in the
outdoor
crew.
theater. In the outdoor theater that I went to a lot, there was a lot of dancing in the show. So literally 60 to 70% of the guys were going to be gay, which is cool. That's fine.
It's great odds for you.
But literally like 90% of the women were straight. So only 10% of them were gay.
Yeah.
After you've lived together for 3 months, a 4, which is me, I start looking like a fucking 7, man.
It's office hot is what it is. You know, like the redhead at the office outside of work may be only a 6, but since she's the only woman in your office that's the right age for you, like she skyrockets. She's a 9.5 or a 10. I think
I don't think that's
that
true.
happens for everybody.
I'm pretty like I don't care how long I'm around a 5. That's a fucking 5.
You're pretty good at judging.
Now what happens is her standard doesn't rise, mine just lowers. Like the longer I'm there, my standards get lower. Like I would never fuck a 3 unless I was stuck with him for a couple hours.
You're a terrible human being. My standards didn't fall, but I did warm to Andre over the summer, and largely it happened because of one moment. There was a party one night after the show, as there often was. I left the apartment complex, our apartment. But before I left, Andre had a plan for the evening. He says, "Guys, I rented this movie, and we should watch all of it together." And I said, "What is it?" And he said, "It's the first 4 hours of 24."
Here's the thing: is you say like the way that you just said that and the syntax that you used, people would think that you're only remembering part of the story and that's you're just giving the gist of it. I wouldn't be surprised if that's exactly how he said it.
I think that's almost exactly how he said it. Yeah.
Hey guys, I got this movie, and we should all watch it together.
Yeah.
Very after school special. That's right.
And he had 24 had been a drum that he had been banging for a while. This was right after the first season, which had been a big hit on TV. Everybody had been talking about it. None of us had seen it.
Right.
Mostly because none of us had cable or DVRs or anything at the time, so you couldn't keep up with the show. Like we were working at night or whatever. So he rents the first disc, which is the first 4 episodes. So 4 fucking hours of television of a show that I assume is stupid and that I don't want to see. And he offers it to us.
And you get real cranky when you don't
I
want
do
to do
get real
shit
cranky.
you don't think that you
That's
don't want to
correct,
do.
yeah.
That's very true. I'm rude about it.
It was true back then as well.
Yes, it was more true back then, I think,
Yes,
maybe than
probably
now. So at midnight, when we get off the show and back to our apartment complex from the site, and we're all ready to go get drunk and stoned and laid somewhere with a bunch of theater kids and circus freaks, he's shaking this DVD at us and like, "Guys, why don't we watch this? Why don't we watch 24 tonight?" And I'm like, "Fuck
he's
you."
the Jiminy Cricket.
Yeah, a little bit. I'm like, "Fuck you, man. Whatever. No, we don't want to watch that." And so I leave. I come back in a couple hours, like ready to crash.
And he's waited.
When he hasn't waited, you were like 20 minutes in, 30 minutes in. Maybe you had just finished the first episode.
Something like that, yeah.
He waited a long time before he got started for whatever reason. But he was almost one episode deep, or maybe he had just finished the first. I walk in the door and he's like, "Dude, this is really good. You should watch this." And I'm like, "Well, I'm not really ready to go to sleep yet. I'll watch the first one with you." We stayed up and watched all four of them. So for him, he spent 5 hours watching that first episode. By the end of those 4 episodes, I had a tremendous amount more respect for Andre. Kiefer Sutherland brought us together. That's all I'm saying.
Nice.
If he hadn't saved the world back in, what was that, like 2004?
Yes.
2000 no, it's earlier than that. 2001.
So what did you think of him until that point? Like before Kiefer, what did you think of him?
Of Joel?
Yes.
Oh, excuse me.
No, that's all right. I'm Joel. You and I can be our real people. He's the only one that hides behind a mask.
Yes.
So does Batman, motherfucker.
That's good. Up to that point, I didn't have anything that I like loved about Joel, but like we were coexisting at this theater. We had previously coexisted at the theater in college, and I knew he was very intelligent and very in love with his own opinions. Now, interestingly enough, nothing's changed except for I just really love him a lot.
Yes.
He's still the asshole we always knew he was.
Yes. No, I was trying to tell somebody the other day was telling me about something. I can't even remember what it was, but some issue or topic that I'm slightly left of center on, and definitely left of center on around here. they were like, don't you think that some of your friends, disagree with you on this? And I'm like, I think my friends like me for me, whether they agree or disagree with my opinions. Like, they like me for me. And if they don't like me for me, then they're not my friends, are they?
Yeah.
I'm a little rough around the edges.
I like you because I think you look a little like Leonardo.
You just like to squint when you're around me, and
Yeah.
there you go. I'm Jack floating off the raft all over again. I watched him today, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched a little of The Departed.
All right.
It's a damn good movie, man.
Yes.
So
We were going back. Where were we? Were you
just got
putting
his
us back
opinion
on
on
us?
you.
Okay, there you go. That's a good start.
So what was your opinion on me?
Oh, you.
And I really hope it's changed.
Mine did.
No, it didn't. Well, his opinion, who you were, didn't. I'm hoping his opinion on me may not have changed, but the person that I was did.
Oh, okay,
That's
I got you.
100% correct. I've listened to every episode of this awesome podcast, and you certainly have changed in lots of ways. When I met you, it was in an acting class, and you were literally like the class clown or the class, the person everybody loved to.
The deviant.
Yes, the deviant. One, because our professor saw you and he was like, "Is this the fourth time you've taken this class?" And he kind of laughed to himself. And you're like, "Yep." And so
It's easy credits, man.
So anyway, all that to say that that was like the first day of class that he was like, "Oh, Mr. Other Guy, you're here again." And I was like, "Oh, he's an interesting fellow." And you told funny stories. You still do. But a lot of us are excited and surprised about the way you turned out.
What?
What he's saying
What
is
path was I on? What was?
dead in a ditch. Dead in a ditch by your mid-20s. I think a lot of us had some money on that.
Maybe. Maybe.
I would say
there were a lot of ways your story could have ended. Happily married and successful businessman, not one that a lot of people would have put money on.
Man, it takes a good woman, man.
That's a true story.
It takes a good
Definitely
woman.
agree with
Here's something else. Like, so I've been trying to hook up. My wife and I actually both, we've been trying to hook up people that we know, right? Because when you're married, it helps to hang out with people if they're also in a relationship. I've mentioned this before. Single
Right.
people don't. It's tough for a single person to make it into a marriage on their own merits. So we're trying to hook up our friends so we can hang out with them more.
Yeah.
One of our friends kept asking, but isn't like, I've heard that he's a player. That guy's a player. I know he's your friend, but I don't want my number to get higher on a player. Like, is there going to be a relationship? And it's like this, man. From my experience, every dude is a player until they find the right one.
I don't know that every guy is. Some guys like cross their fingers and
Every
and
guy
wander out
looking
blindly.
every guy looking for pussy is a player until he finds the right one.
Okay, yes, that's a
is
true
that
story.
better?
Yes, that's a true story.
Okay.
Yes. If that's what they were there for, they can occasionally be talked into staying for more. Mostly, they will be looking for another piece of that if that's what they came for.
Right.
Not all guys are necessarily looking for that. I say that because there's a dude here in the room who never did those things that you and I did. Look, you and I have been varying degrees of dog at many points in our past. I haven't known this guy his whole life, but the entire time that I've known him, he was never ever a dog. He was lots of things. He was never ever a dog.
It's because when he was a
thanks.
child, he ate a unicorn. And that purity has just shined through.
That's part of the childhood in Romania that we want to get to here in a minute. This is very exciting. We talked about this earlier.
Wait, were you born in Romania?
yes, born
I
in
did
Romania.
not know this.
It's a first
I knew your
generation
parents-
immigrant, dude.
Oh man, I knew your parents were. I thought you were born here.
Nope. I came when I was 4 to the United States.
Wow.
I know. See, I thought you were older than that. I was thinking that you were like 10 or 11 or something like that.
I mean, I have cousins that were that age. when
That
they
moved at that
came.
age.
Right, but not me.
So the whole family fucking moved?
Our family kind of migrated in pieces.
Were you gypsies?
Yes. No, we really weren't. But they we had some uncles and aunts and their nuclear family that came about 5 or 6 months before we came, and we lived in this 3-story high-rise building where we were everybody. All our family lived in this one building in Philadelphia for about a year. And then
Did they call it Little Romania?
I wish they would have.
It's like
You don't mess with Little Romania.
That's right.
and this is one of the reasons why now, looking back, I want to kick young me. Why did you ever not like this guy? This is the perfect fucking American story. This is exactly what you want out of the the American dream. There you go. That's the phrase that I was looking for. If you don't mind, I know you've told it a million times, but the story of how your father and your uncle petitioned for citizenship is fucking beautiful. If you want to tell an abbreviated version of that or something.
Yeah, I will. It was my grandfather and his brother. They're the 2 oldest in their family. So they would go daily to the American embassy, or I guess Romanian embassy that was in charge of the visas for Romania, and petition and say, we want to get out of this country. We want political and religious freedoms, and you're not giving it to us.
So why would you ever say, if you're Romania, why would you ever say yes?
Well, no, but...
Well, they didn't say yes for 4 years.
And for those, there's a lot of folks too young to remember even the Soviet Union, let alone anything that it had to do with. And that's what we're talking about here. Where it's an offshoot of the Soviet Union, right? The government there in Romania at the time. The despot's name was
Ceausescu.
There you go. And so your family's literally living under an oppressive regime,
right?
And you're talking about. So not just the lack of political freedoms or ability to move around in society, but even religious persecution going on at the time too.
Right. Yeah, because my family is Christian and evangelical Christian, not Greek Orthodox, which was the religion of choice at that time, and they would allow you to practice your Greek Orthodox services, but not your Christian evangelical services.
Anything that had more a Western tint to it was no.
Right. And they would do churches in their house, Bible studies in homes and things like that.
That's amazing, man.
Yeah, it really is interesting. And
so how long a process are we talking about now? They went day after day, week after week?
4 years. Wow. And they made friends with the guards, and they made friends with basically everybody. Oh, here they come again. Well, one of the guards called them and said, we have your visas. They are ready. You must get on the plane.
Now? Just the 2 of them?
Well, it was my grandfather and his wife and an aunt of ours, and then his brother's family as well. So his brother, his wife, and 2 children. And then through that, they let other members of our family go as well.
So once the first of you guys made it easier for... Cool,
but man. Even so, the day they went to the airport, the TSA, let's call them, stopped them and said, wait, there's something wrong with their paperwork, and put them in a small room, and they boarded the rest of the plane, and they were oh, wow, we're literally not going to get to leave now.
Wow.
And they let them go at the last minute and let them board, let them take a seat, and then they shut the doors.
So
I'm going to fuck with you one last time.
Yes,
one
exactly.
One last time, one last screw job. But so once the family makes it to the States, or is there ever a time where you're okay, well, we're going to be called back? Or once you guys get here, you're in the system and you're always pretty confident it's a path to citizenship eventually now?
Right. I mean, I don't know if there were secret murmurings of the family oh, our visa's about to expire. Nobody told me about that.
You were too young to remember any of the issues.
I remember in 4th grade, my parents saying, guess what, Andre? Hold on, let me try it again. Guess what, Andre? We are going to be citizens today.
What?
And I was like, okay, what does that mean? They're you will be an American. I was like, oh, that sounds fun. Okay, great. Does
this mean ice cream? Is Mickey Mouse coming to my house?
And you were 4?
No, 4th grade.
No shit, 4th grade.
Yeah.
4th grade and you didn't know what American citizenship. You were a dumb fucking kid, man.
Well, he meant, how is that any different than yesterday? I thought I thought this is already, aren't we already? Like, I'm speaking English, I'm going to school, like I learned about.
You're saying you didn't know you weren't an American
Correct.
citizen.
Yeah, like
All right.
they just said, hey.
And you moved here when you were 4?
Correct.
Man, you're a dumb fucking 4-year-old.
There's that heart we love.
That's right.
So, did you swear the oath? Like, did you see it in the movies? Like, yeah, got to cover your heart and raise your hand and swear to uphold the
Did
Constitution.
they ask you who the first president was?
My parents, I'm basically grandfathered in through my parents. So I did not go to the swearing in ceremony. They did it, and as a result, I'm now a citizen. But they had to take a test, U.S. history test. They did the swearing in, the oath, and all that.
So, like growing up, I mean, and I've met your parents, and they're both lovely, and they're literally as lovely as Andre is. When you meet them, you have no more questions about where he came from or if it's genuine. Like, the combination of his mother and father is exactly what he is. It's perfect. But in your house, like, are they very? Like, I mean, I know they're proud of their Romanian heritage, and you guys follow Romanian soccer and things like that, for instance. But do you, like, we're proud to be Americans, and we want you to speak English very well, and we want you to know all about American history? And
yes, all of that. There are two factions of my family: the people that still live in Philadelphia that are like Romanian pride, and they make their kids speak Romanian all the time in the home.
It's like you're never Romanian enough for that.
Oh yeah, I'm like. I don't think I'm loved by them.
You're not Romanian.
His blood is false.
Yes, that's right. Well, because my parents are like the opposite. Like, especially my grandparents.
So it sounds like they grabbed a hold of the American dream and was like, this is what we're fucking doing.
Correct.
This is why we came over here.
Yes.
And you're like, we just wanted more freedoms, but fuck, let's do what we want.
Yeah.
That's the worst Romanian accent of all time.
That was great.
I'm terrible at accents, man.
Why did you end up coming to this? Why did you end up coming to our school?
I ended up coming. So after a year of living in Pennsylvania, my grandparents moved to Texas and helped my dad find a job in Texas because they wanted some kids to live close by. So me and my family.
So you were whether or not that other side of your family loves you or not, you were your grandparents' favorite.
That not necessarily. There's some other cousins that are possibly
They're
favorites,
higher up on the list. We like Andre, okay, but Mortimer, that's
right.
that's the real heir right there. Mortimer,
right.
he's the one I'm pinning my hopes on.
Mortimer doesn't sound.
I couldn't think of a Romanian. I didn't know, other than his sister. I didn't know any other Romanian names. I don't know.
You'd think they'd probably be fairly Russian sounding.
I don't know.
Vladimir.
Vlad. Yeah, that's the only Russian name I know. Vladimir is a Romanian name because it's Dracul. Yeah, there you go.
My
What
cousin's
about
named that.
Simeon?
Simeon.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, Simeon.
It's from the.
Todor.
Yes, these are good.
you.
These
Yeah.
are.
Beezer.
I don't know that
I don't
one.
know
Beezer?
that one.
Beezer, you don't know Beezer?
How about
Kratzmir.
How about Doozer?
Kratz? Okay. All right. I'll go there.
The Romanian judge. The Romanian judge is giving it a 6. Yeah.
Nice.
So, hell, I got lost. What were we talking about?
He just made it to Texas.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
So,
we
family
live in-
moved to Texas. Which, by the way, your father did what in Romania?
My father was a doctor in Romania, a
And
pediatrician.
when he moved here,
He had to retake the USMLE, which I think was called like the CAPS at that time.
Okay, you just completely
Sorry,
lost me on this
USMLE
fucking
is
story.
like-
mostly because I was really hoping he's going to be like a fucking cobbler or something, man. Like a little shoemaker.
this is even like the story
was a
itself is
doctor?
awesome. Here's what I'm saying. I'm saying, why has someone not made a film about this story?
About the rich doctor's kid making it to fucking America while the cobbler's still digging ditches and peeling potatoes?
No, but listen, the doctor, first of all, he's not a rich
no
doctor.
wonder you're so goddamn nice. You got a lot to be fucking nice about.
He's not a rich doctor.
Fucking Yuri back there still peeling potatoes.
I just left my car in Ohio.
Ween Lord.
Yeah,
Ween Lord.
He would move into. Yuri would move into that fucking car.
When can I go to America where we have disposable vehicles? Ween Lord. When is my time? When is Vlad's time? No, Yuri, right? Not Vlad.
Yeah,
Yuri, the cobbler's son. No, not a rich doctor necessarily, but a doctor. This dude's a learned man. He's got a freaking trade and a probably a secure life. He gives all of that up. I'm going to be a taxi driver. I'm going to be a trash man. I'm going to be whatever I'm going to be. I'm going to start all over again with my schooling and have to go through all the certification process. That like puts the cherry on the top. I'm serious, man. We ought to know some people in the movie business. We could make a movie out of this.
Well, my family is working on a script. I know that's you probably hear that all the time, but seriously,
are they really?
Yeah, that's something that we've all talked about. Like, we need to put this on paper.
Well, and here's the thing too. Like in particular, and I mean, I don't mean this to be crass at all, but
fine.
in particular, the fact that this is wrapped up with it's a Christian family, an evangelical Christian family. There are a million like family market companies that are just looking to spend money making these kinds of films. You know what I mean? That could be like a really well-made movie. You spend $10 million on it. You promote it with to church groups and youth groups and community groups. You can make a nice return and have a satisfying story told too.
Yeah,
and it's a story worth telling. That's my point. Anyway, so
here's the deal. I would if that were a movie, I would watch it. Because if you have like he has something to be proud of and make it into a movie, that's fantastic. I don't want anybody to make a movie of my family. Not that it wouldn't be interesting. There's just some things that needs to stay in the family.
Be more Hatfields and McCoys.
Yes, but with each other. Kinda. Mine's just not exciting. Truthfully, I mean, I got a handful of exciting relatives, and there's a couple of deep dark stories if you go back a few generations. But everybody's got deep dark stories if you go back a few generations in America, man. So. We were talking about you making your way to Texas. Oh, yeah, we were in Texas.
Somewhere in Texas.
From Texas, we eventually moved to Louisiana. That was about 92.
It's a good choice in 92.
Yeah, a good year.
Yeah.
You were a Bulls fan.
Yeah, well, I was not a Bulls fan, but that's okay. But anyway, we don't have to talk about my love-hate relationship with Michael Jordan right now.
You're the only kid in the 90s that didn't like Michael Jordan.
That's
it's
correct.
like you and anyone that lived in Seattle.
Yeah, or Detroit.
Or good call.
You
Detroit,
if you were born in Romania, you would never be in the NBA. What gives you the right?
I like George Murashan.
I like Vlade Divac. Who I wholly place the phenomenon of flopping on. If it weren't for Vlade, flopping would not have made its way into the NBA for quite some time.
Vlade's pre-Reggie Miller, right?
Around the same time.
Yeah.
We're going NBA nerd here for just a second.
Yeah,
but
Vlade was ridiculous.
Vlade was a terrible flopper. I think Reggie Miller would have originated that on his own if he didn't have the inspiration of Vlade. But I mean, I think they're floppers pre that. Vlade just lifted it to an art form.
Definitely.
He made it gamesmanship, man.
Made it gamesmanship. So in 92, you find your way to the boot.
Correct.
You and your wild band of gypsies.
Yes, my awesome family, right?
Man, even when you got here, your guys were still kind of gypsies.
Yeah, we
wandering all around.
And then you went to school for theater, which is a very gypsy thing to do.
Yes.
Where is the wagon train, and where are my scarves? I will tell your fortune.
Got 'em.
I will tell your fortune.
So here's the deal. This question I always want to know. So your dad's a doctor.
Yes.
Right. What did your family think when you were like, I'm gonna follow this theater gig?
Oh wow, did not go over well. It didn't go over.
And and what it described not well.
Okay,
in your household.
Well, that's a good question.
You didn't get dessert before bed.
Yeah.
Like
it wasn't
happened?
like you're no son of mine. Get out of here. It wasn't like that. It was like
It wasn't a Phil Collins song.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. It was more like an unspoken tension.
Really?
They would very occasionally like "Oh, so what is your backup plan in case this acting thing doesn't work?" You know, that might have happened one time. Like, what's your backup plan? And then besides that, it was just anytime I'd be like, "Well, I really want to be an actor." They'd just kind of roll their eyes and sit in silence, and then I'd be like, "Oh, they don't approve."
You are terrible. At least you could act like our son.
Learn science; it will get you far.
But I love they
To
were
the stars, the science goes.
like they were so supportive in general that their silence was deafening to
Yes,
you and was like,
definitely.
oh, like, and your sad Charlie Brown music walking away
Yes.
from the living room. So, but in the end, it worked out for you. You're not an actor,
Right.
but at the same time, you found your way into show business.
Yes. And honestly, this kind of comes full circle. I don't know that my parents were ever truly proud of me until this past year when I work. You've mentioned this on the show. I work on the TV show Dallas.
Yes.
And I do all the extras casting for the show. And our producer had a day where you could bring your family to the set. And so we all had lunch there, and then we took a set tour. And my parents love the show. They've started to watch it. They don't.
It's a
watch
really good show.
It is. It's a good show.
Yeah.
It's entertaining. It's well written. And the actors. Sometimes you'll read the script before you see it come to life. And you'll read the script and think, "Oh, this is a little cheesy," but the actors do a good job of bringing it to life.
Yes.
So you're saying the show has some shitty writers. Like, you don't know how phenomenal this acting is because you don't see this crap writing.
No, you know what I heard? I listened to an episode of the BS Report today, actually, and they were talking about the Mad Men finale, and they were talking about Game of Thrones, they were talking about Gandolfini dying, and then they were talking specifically about Scandal, which is a show that I don't watch. But one of the comments and I wish I could remember the guest, but one of the comments he made was, we've got this ridiculous definition that we hold up for what a real drama is supposed to be like, and if a show doesn't meet that definition, we kind of toss it aside as, oh, that must be a guilty pleasure. The fact of the matter is, Dallas is not trying to do what Breaking Bad does or what Game of Thrones does or whatever. Like, Dallas is trying to do what Dallas has always done.
So we
But
just
for the modern era.
down. So
No. And it's not. It's not bad writing. It's specific writing. It's like you can't read the script for Star Wars against the script for The Godfather and really judge them against each other. It's a different tone. It's a different.
Here's the deal.
It's like Kabuki or something. It's a different kind
Whoever
of theater.
writes for True Blood is fucking terrible.
Okay, well,
I don't understand that phenomenon at all.
I think like people who hate shows from Boston that are from Boston, they're like, everybody gets the accent wrong. I think that's just an issue where you don't like the geography being screwed up and you don't like the accents being so screwed up, and just generally they get like our region wrong, and so you're biased against the show from the offset.
No, here's the line that turned me off to the show. I know exactly what fucking line made me go, "This is ridiculous."
No to True Blood. All right.
One of the characters said, "My mama made me hoe cakes." Who the fuck says hoe cake anymore?
What is a hoe cake? Is that a pancake?
I couldn't tell you. Could not tell you what a fucking hoe cake was. I think it's kind of a cornbread cake. Is what a hoe cake is, and you put some honey and syrup on it after it's cooked.
It's almost like a biscuit or so, like a fried biscuit or something.
I think it's closer to hot water cornbread, but griddled.
Griddled?
Yeah.
Wow. You know, I don't know anyone who's ever made a hoe cake.
Exactly. Fucking exactly. Like, where did this write it? Like, did he like, ooh, my 18th century Southern colloquialisms? Like, where do you pick this shit up at?
Not around here.
No, not fucking anywhere.
You know a show that has never once mentioned hoe cake?
What's that?
Dallas.
That's correct.
It's a true damn story. How did you, here's what I want to know, because I've been a fan of JR from way back in the day. How the hell did you get the job casting extras on Dallas?
Great question. I was
Because I mean, your parents aren't like. You said maybe your parents have never been proud of you and they walk off the set and they're like, he has a real job. Yeah. This is a real thing that is going on now. But I mean, like, not for nothing. This is your first big break or not break
Sure.
or whatever, but like this is your first real step out into like this is a major production right here that we're responsible
Yes.
for.
I took when I was working in the little college town that we live in that I don't live in anymore, but that I
Once
used
upon
to
a
live
time.
in. Yeah. When I was working here, I took an acting class in the big city about an hour away.
All right.
And the gentleman who taught that acting class, I guess I can say his name.
Yeah.
His name is Ryan Glorioso. You can look him up. Glorioso Casting. It was before he had started his own casting company. He was an acting teacher and had done some extras casting. I used to work as an extra when I was working in that little town. And he sent out an email. I got on his email list, sent out an email to teach an acting class. And I was like, I should do that. I'm kind of out of the theater world and I really want to get into acting. And this guy seems like a good guy to know. And so I took an acting class and paid like $250 for like 4-week session. We went twice a week. And I thought that was a good value for what you got. Anyway, we had a good rapport. And so when I moved to that big town,
He's like, look, no offense, you're never going to be an actor, but I got a place for you.
That's right. I just told him I was in town. He said, well, can you just come and help me answer phones in my office and I'll pay you $50. I was like, oh, that sounds great. This is a really fun idea.
How does this sounds real skeezy? Like I feel like you're about to be cast for porn.
Like,
I feel like this is where the story's going to end.
Now, before anybody can see your tapes, we're going to have to get some pre-roll footage of you, and so I'm going to need to see your Johnson.
That's right.
And
So, hey,
you just stand up against that wall right there by the leather couch, and I'm going to put this camera here.
And by answering phones, I meant suck my dick.
This is why your mother and father were worried about you, Andre.
Just go to this dude's. That seems strange.
I think Andre is going to have to do the gay stuff. That's the way it works into Hollywood.
Yeah.
Well, just to be fair, for time editing sake of the story, like months had passed.
Yes.
I'd moved to town. I'd taken his acting class. One random day, I was working at a dead end job, and one random day he calls and says, "Hey, will you come in? We're working on this film. My assistant just quit. Will you come and answer phones?" And kind of book some extras, whatever.
Come assist me.
Exactly. So, long story short, I ended up working in his office on that film, and then every time he'd get new films, he would call me. I became part of his crew. Let's say.
You were an entourage.
Yes, part of his entourage.
Well,
But
we all
pays.
know. I mean, from the few gigs that you and I had, other guy in
who you know.
theater. Yeah, it's all about who
yeah.
you know. I mean, and everybody tells you like the first gig is always the hardest one to get, and if you do well on that one, the next one will be easy, and the one after that will be easier and easier and easier, and so forth and so on. Like good workers will continue to get good work. And it's a small world.
Right.
Nobody wants to work with the jerk, and nobody wants to work twice with the person who doesn't get the job done. So. Right. You those people fall away pretty quickly. So, but you kind of bubbled up in his organization,
right? And worked with him for years, 4 years or so, on various sizes of films, from small movies that you haven't heard of to some that you may have.
And I mean, the Louisiana film industry exploded,
When you got
especially
into it.
in this area. After Katrina, all the productions that happened in New Orleans and around New Orleans all moved to Shreveport. And then they found out, hey, it's close to Dallas, it's convenient to New Orleans, this is a great place to work.
Right.
And then there's tax benefits and all other reasons why the film industry, but you hit a bubble. You hit a perfect bubble to start.
Absolutely. I met a girl.
Ooh.
Yes, the story gets more interesting. So I started doing online dating in 2009 and met a girl in Dallas and fell in love and thought, I really want to move to Dallas. I don't want to, she has a job. She's very established. I would like to move to her rather than making her move to me. And I started sending out resumes to film people there to try to get a job similar to the job I had as an assistant in a casting office. And this nice lady, there's one nice lady, everybody else were jerks and didn't give a crap. One nice lady hired me to work on a show that got canceled really quickly.
Ooh,
called
what was it?
Lone Star on Fox. It was an awesome show.
I remember you working on this. I don't think I watched the show. I don't
Yeah.
think I remember.
I mean, nobody had a chance.
Yeah, nobody
to.
did.
It was 2 weeks into its run, it got canceled.
Who was in it?
James. John Voight was the main.
Oh,
actor.
really?
Yeah.
He's a great actor.
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, really great actor.
It was
I think
on.
he's not. I don't think the generation now is in touch with him though.
It was on Fox. You said
Yes, on Fox.
Yeah, well, that's
It
the
was-
reason it got yanked so quickly.
It
Fox
took
is
24's spot on after the last season of 24. It took that Monday night at like 9 p.m.
Oh, wow.
That 24 was on. So they had huge hopes, and it really should have been like on FX or A&E or some other.
with a little dialed down expectations.
Exactly.
Like this is more a niche show.
Yes.
This is not for everybody at
network
8
show.
o'clock on. Yeah.
right
Yeah,
against
yeah.
Dancing with the Stars and Monday Night Football and
The fact of the matter is, you got a program broad now for network
Right.
TV. Like, and you can't fault them for doing it. Like we used to. If you look at the ratings, the only thing that gets more than 10 million or more than a 10 spot is live sports or vocal competitions or dancing competitions or whatever.
Here's a show that I don't think should have made it.
What?
Like I'd much rather watch Lone Star. I've never seen it. Don't know the premise of it. I know I'd rather watch it than this show.
All right.
Pretty Little Liars.
Yeah,
that's also on a specialty cable network. It's on
That
ABC
is-
Family.
That is.
is it really? That's on the Family Channel.
Yeah. That is one of the wife's favorite show, and it drives me bonkers.
You were telling me about it earlier. The short version of it is it's like I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Yeah.
Except
Yes.
with text messages. It's
And, like,
modernized
spread
version
out
of that
for 4 years.
for seasons. Yeah.
Right. And here's the deal is, so the bad guy is simply known by A.
Right.
So A is terrorizing these bitches, man. Like making their life miserable. Anything you can do, like to just screw with a high school chick, she does that and more. It goes way like people start dying. But here's the deal: is no matter where they're at, this fucking A always is, or somebody working with A, or what the fuck ever, but they're always there and sending them text messages, so they're obviously seeing what's going on. Who the fuck has the time to sit around and follow these cunts all goddamn day just to send them a fucking text message? Like, what does this person do? What is their job so they can support themselves to do this?
You're saying, just like in the world of Batman, just ask yourself who can
Yes.
afford to do this.
Yes, who was rich enough to be A? That's the fucker. Like, who was rich enough to be Batman? Who could support the Batman lifestyle? Bruce Wayne, done.
All that detective work for nothing.
Yeah, like this is like 4 seasons, dude.
So-
2 weeks solved, done.
So you're saying that Pretty Little Liars does not get the other guy's stamp of approval?
I hate it. But let me tell you, this A person is a real cunt.
We're actually going to talk later about who is the best bitch on TV. That's going to be our
Yeah,
best
because
this
we have
week.
a TV person,
Since we
so
got a
who-
TV person this week. And not only that, but his show is full of great bitches on
True.
TV. I mean, there's at least a couple of backstabbers on
And
there.
it's incredibly hard for the Romania to say anything negative about anybody. So this will be interesting.
That's true. We'll find who his favorite B on TV is
Yes.
a little bit later in the show. But we were talking about Lone Star, though. So you get one nice lady.
Yes, one nice
Puts
lady
you
who
to
hired
work.
me. She was way over her head. She, like, as soon as I started working with her, I knew I was more experienced than she was in this type of casting. She does commercials. She does like these Walmart real people commercials, those that you've seen about, like, hey, I'm here with a real family.
Right.
She's cast a lot of those in Texas and things like that. But Lone Star was a different animal because it was a big network show and they had high expectations, and the people who come and work regionally still have that LA mindset. So they'll be like, we want 100 hot chicks. And you're like, oh, that's great.
I
And
might
so-
can find 10.
Yes,
if
I
I
can
looked
find-
for a week.
Right. I mean, like you can book that. That's not like outrageously difficult now, but at that time with her database, it wasn't like an easy task. And she would freak out. And then she got, I'm digressing for a little bit, but she would get other phone calls to work on other projects. And she would take those jobs and get super overwhelmed. And anyway, all that to say that after 3 or 4 weeks, she wanted to quit. And she did quit, and they hired another lady in her spot and used me as that lady's assistant. eventually that second lady, when Lone Star ended, took me to work on a different show, which was great.
So she had an eye for talent.
Apparently so.
Well,
The casting agent's a good job for her.
Sounds to me like he was keeping the ship running, and she was like, I got a good thing here. I got a worker bee who,
yes.
doesn't know how much to ask to get paid, I think, is what it amounted to.
Well, and then
Like, this dude's working for peanuts. I'm still paying him $50 a week. He's answering the phones and stuff is what he
And
thinks
he'll
his
move
job is.
anywhere I want him to. That damn gypsy disposition.
Come
You
with
can't
me,
get rid of it.
come with me, monkey.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yes.
You were raised. This is what you get. This is what you get, other guy, when you raise them in communism. That's willing.
We're doing it all wrong.
That's right. Yeah. Anyway, so
you followed her to the next show.
I followed her to the next show. She worked on Walker, Texas Ranger, and Prison Break, and has had years and years under her belt, and was just burned out. So when our show ended, it was Chase on NBC, about the U.S. Marshal, blonde U.S. Marshal lady.
Yeah. I watched like a couple episodes of that.
Yeah.
Again, I did.
I love NBC. Like, I'm always rooting for
I do
NBC.
too.
So every time they launch a big show, I'm always like, please be good.
Right.
No, it's not good. Let me tell you something. I'm still heartbroken over what was the one about it's not the time traveler's wife, but it's the one that was like that. It was from a few years ago. It was the guy from the blonde guy that was on Rome. Okay. I'm trying to think. He's made some movies since then too. Anyway, he was like a journalist. He was like a newspaper writer or whatever. And all of a sudden he started jumping through time. It was like kind of like The Time Traveler's Wife, the movie, kind of like Quantum Leap.
Okay.
Kind of like, it was like a lot of those things all put together.
If you're going to cast a show like that, you can't get a substitute for Scott Bakula.
No, this dude was way like they played it at a whole different like tone too. But anyway, I'm still a little torn up about that one. It only went like 12 episodes, I think, and then it got canned.
Wow.
But like I'm like, that show could have gone for years. It was such good acting. Anyway,
so she got burned out. The producer of Dallas called her and said, "Hey, I'd really want you to cast this." And she just said, "I don't have it in me to do a series, but I have this really great assistant. His name is Andre. He's really ready to take the next step. You should bring him in for an interview." So they called me in for an interview, and so she kind of gave me her blessing, basically, and that's how I got Dallas. That's pretty much the story.
so they kind of took a chance on you.
Yeah,
I mean,
they did.
with some backing and recommendation and whatever. But like
Right.
you hadn't proved that you could do it.
Correct.
That's awesome.
Here's the thing. I think for you, anytime you get an interview, you're gonna lock that job down.
Well, thanks.
Like it's hard not to sit down and talk with you and not like you and want to be around you.
Yeah,
Thanks.
I'll agree with that.
Yeah. So I mean, for the future, anytime you're like, "Oh, come in for an interview," you can be like, "I got this shit."
I do feel like interviewing is a strong skill of mine. For the next 3 years, spent my time thinking, I hope they didn't make a huge mistake.
Well, I mean, obviously now
They
the
haven't.
show. I was going to say they haven't. The show's wrapped its second season. Are you guys already in production for 3?
No, we'll start. I mean, I don't know the date yet, but it'll be mid-September or early October, something like that.
And it's been a big hit for TNT. Last season, I know, was a big deal. You brought back. It seems like everybody that had ever been on the show pretty much came
Yes.
back. There were a lot of big stars from the past that had returns, and not just returns, but like wrapped up storylines and really tied it in with the older series. And of course, there was also the death of Larry Hagman. Did you ever get to meet him?
I did. I mean, he wouldn't know my name.
Right.
But he would come to our production office where I have my little cubicle area, and he would go to every department and say, "Hi, I'm Larry Hagman," and like he doesn't shake hands, but he would
Fist bump?
Yeah,
Like Howie
Yes.
Mandel?
Yes,
That's awesome.
Yeah, because he was a germaphobe. Like
That's
Yeah.
awesome. Larry Hagman fist bumped, I should
Right.
say. God rest
Not
his
because he
soul.
won it, not because he thought it was cool.
No, but Howie Mandel's the same way. He fist bumps because I don't want to touch your hands, and I appreciate that and respect the German. I'm a little bit of a germaphobe myself.
I'm not.
I say that as you douse yourself in Germex on a
like the way
regular
it
basis.
feels.
You're a weird guy, as I said earlier. So we should say though, and I actually asked you this on the way over. Like, okay, well, do you want to be yourself? Do you want to talk about who you are? But what's the name of your company?
It's Legacy Casting.
And where can people find you?
You can find us on the internet at legacycasting.com. We have a decent website. We have hold on, let me rephrase that. My wife would be very upset with that answer.
Is
we
she
have
the
a
web
great
person?
She's basically like the PR, and she wants me to sell myself to the most instead of like, because I'm kind of a humble guy, like, oh yeah, I'm working on the show Dallas, whatever. And she's like, no, you need to be proud and sell it. She's very entrepreneurial, and
She's like, I thought I
she's like
married a
the-
gypsy who went to acting school.
she said, no,
This shouldn't be this hard.
she thinks I married a gypsy who went to acting school, and I made him a president of his own company. Like that's.
And it's true.
And it is true.
You guys are successful. You're running your own successful business. Like, and I mean, I see you guys tweeting and posting from late night on the set and like, hey, it's midnight and I need 6 dozen
Right.
extras tomorrow
Right.
morning at 6 a.m. Where are we going to find them? So I know you're hustling, but at the same time, you're doing what you love, right?
Yes.
Like you do really enjoy.
it's really fun.
This. And okay, so if people are in
So-
Texas, Louisiana, they want to do extra work.
Yes, go to legacycasting.com. The top, there's a link that says get registered, or it says Legacy Actors. You'll click on it, click register. It'll take you to a site for our online database, which is called mycastingfile.com. We didn't create it. A bunch of other casting directors are using it, but it's a great way to get signed up.
And you guys, obviously Dallas is the biggest one that you're working on right now, but you're doing other movies, you're doing other projects too. Is there something else that you're working on that you want to mention, that you can mention?
Sure. I did Olympus Has Fallen last summer.
Yes,
That was
I
probably
forgot all about that.
The other biggest thing we've worked on. And I don't know if you're following Ain't Them Bodies Saints.
Yes.
Wait,
I
what?
worked on that as well.
The name of the movie is Ain't Them Bodies Saints.
Yes.
It's a Natalie Portman, right? No?
No,
no, am I? Oh, what did I?
it's-
I'm confusing it with something else.
Casey Affleck and Girl with the Dragon Tattoo.
Oh, Mara.
Yes,
Mara.
Rooney Mara.
Runa Mara?
Rooney Mara.
Rooney Mara? Is that the one? That's not the one on House of Cards.
Not
That's
the one.
other
That's
one.
the sister.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. How fucking blessed and lucky are those bitches? Like you're the granddaughters of 2 NFL franchises, and you're also getting gigs. Fuck me.
Well, I have not seen the Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, either version. I haven't seen the foreign version or the remake.
It is all slow and shitty except for one amazing, beautiful, fucking horrific part.
Really? All right,
Yes.
then. House of Cards was amazing, and she was really good in it.
Yes.
Heiress or not, she's earned her role in that one, I think, at least.
If you say so.
Yeah, whatever, man. You got to see House of Cards. It's really good.
So anyway, Ain't Them Bodies Saints, I worked on that.
I'm excited
This
about that.
summer, I worked on 2 films. One that just finished. It's a remake of The Town That Dreaded Sundown.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
What was that about? Is that Texarkana, right?
Texarkana, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Murders. in
True
Texarkana.
story.
Yes.
Yeah,
True
that's
story
crazy
from the
shit.
40s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The old movie was it's what it was.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this is like an homage to that. The director, like, it was a movie that scared the crap out of him as a kid, and so he
Thinking
wanted
he was going
to
to be kidnapped and murdered.
something like that. So he wanted to remake it. It's his first film, though he's done American Horror Story, some episodes.
Oh,
of
wow.
that.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's a good show.
Yeah.
That seems to be like a real common thing that you see a lot now is television directors graduating to, and not just like film directors, but actually like getting to kind of do their own pet projects. Like, hey, you
Right.
did this. Now what else do you want to do?
Right. And it's like Ryan Murphy, who produces
American Horror Story and Glee and everything else that's on
Right.
television. He's got 2 new ones starting this year, doesn't he?
I think you're right.
Like
I mean,
he's
he
got
did
a sex
the new
show.
Normal last
The new
year.
normals. Yeah, I forgot about
Right.
that one. That started last year, but he's got another one.
Yeah, HBO, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Is he
About
the new,
sex.
Is he the new Spelling?
I don't know. It's even further than Spelling, because Spelling did it like, I don't know. Spelling was all like he was like Bruckheimer or something. Like he had a thing. Like Spelling made a certain kind of a certain kind of show. You know what I mean? And I just make that show over and over again.
Yeah, he was. The,
But even Spelling wasn't the writer for all of that, was he? Like Ryan Murphy is controlling this.
Yes.
All of these projects.
I feel like he's the Hughes of television.
The Hughes?
Yeah.
Howard Hughes?
No. Wait. Who's the guy that did 16 Candles and all that shit?
Oh, John Hughes.
Oh, John Hughes.
Nice.
Yeah.
Aaron
Aaron
see
Spelling's
that.
the John Hughes of television.
You do Ryan Murphy's the John Hughes of television.
No.
All right then.
How do you not follow this? Ryan Murphy does like fucking like some crazy off the wall shit.
All of his shit's kind of
Right.
weird.
John Hughes didn't. It was all like teenager, coming of age, feel good. This is awkward shit.
Yeah, well, yeah. John Hughes attacked like one particular question, I think, from like a dozen different angles.
Yeah,
like what's it like to grow up? You know.
And name Aaron Spelling shows.
Well, he did 90210, right?
Yeah.
He did
Yes,
Melrose
Melrose
Place.
Place.
Yeah.
And he did. Was St. Elsewhere one of his?
I don't
I think that's
so.
I don't have no idea.
I don't know. I think he did soap operas, is what I'm
yeah,
saying.
like
he did
Dynasty. I don't know if
Dynasty
is
maybe,
one of them.
but like that style
yes.
of and not just soap operas, but like a particular kind of, it's upper crust. They're all well off. It's mostly about sex and scandal and that kind
Sounds
of
like
thing.
the Breakfast Club.
Fair
Breakfast
enough.
Club. They all came together from different walks of life.
We gotta get some to listener mail.
Did you say you had an if you could, a real if you could? Did you have an if you could?
I do. Yes, I do have
Okay.
an if you could.
Let's do the if you could first, and then we'll close with the best.
Okay, so in Dallas, she made this post on Facebook, and she said, "I have a film family that wants to rent a house for a month in North Dallas / Plano, the North Dallas / Plano area. They'll pay you. They're looking specifically for a 4-bedroom house. More bedrooms would be better, and they'd like a pool, but if not, that's not that big a deal." And I guess my if you could is, so the idea is, she didn't say who it was. She said, if you are interested, contact me and I'll put you in touch with their assistant.
To try to hook this up.
Yes, to try to hook
talk
this up.
about the details and
Correct.
work it out.
So not knowing who it is, it could be the Spellings. It could be like an accountant for some, bull crap that you don't care.
Right. It could be Tom Cruise's CPA, or it could be Brad and Angelina and the kids.
Correct. Yes.
Or the Osbournes.
Yeah.
Would you be willing to let somebody use your house, not knowing who they are, and not knowing whether this will be a good, advantageous
Relationship.
for you?
How much are they paying me?
Let's say $2,000.
That's it for a week?
No, for a month.
No.
No, I agree with him. Here's whatever your rent is, you're
Right.
talking about short-term occupancy. So whatever your rent is, it would have to be, I would think, 4 or 5 times whatever your rent is, because you got to mostly think about supplanting your own self.
Correct.
You and your wife uprooting yourself, making yourself comfortable somewhere else. That's before you ever even take into account, I still got to pay my rent. I still got to pay all my power bills there. I still got to take care
Sure.
of all the extra trouble it'll be for you working from somewhere else, et cetera, et cetera. So I agree. His first question is right in
Yes.
that it is mostly about if the money is decent.
Right. So my
Then yes.
answer was wrong.
If you're not losing money on the deal, then yes, it would be worth it for the potential of an advantageous addition to your career down the road. Yeah, doing a solid for somebody famous. Other guy, one of the first things that I learned, truthfully, by hanging out with him, and it's something I should have known all along, and maybe I did, but he definitely made it a tenet of my life. You will never go poor or hungry doing favors for rich people. And likewise,
That's true.
yeah, you will never hurt yourself by doing something positive for somebody who's already ahead in the business that you're in.
Sure.
So
We call that the Cato Kalin philosophy.
that's a true story. That's a very true. That is the Cato Kalin philosophy. So yeah, but on the flip side though, if you put yourself out and put yourself in a bind, then it doesn't matter if there's maybe somewhere down the road a little bit of a potential payoff. Like in the short term, you've done yourself and your family a disservice. And if they're intelligent, they will realize that you've done yourself a disservice to be fawning and,
Sure.
he wants something.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And whether maybe they'll take you up on it and take advantage of the cheap rent.
Right.
But they're unlikely to consider you a worthy business partner at some later juncture. That would be my. Don't you think so?
It depends on. If I don't know who it is, then no. That the answer is going to be no.
So wait, is that we would never find out who it was? Or once you get into the specifics, they would be like, hey, here's the dollar amount. And,
Like, if I knew
before
who-
they moved in,
if I knew who it
here's who
was,
it is. Here's who's
Like
going
if
to be.
Kevin Smith and his family is like, hey, we need, I'm like, hey, yeah, man, take the house. Cool. You know what? Don't even pay me.
But that's if you knew who it was.
Right. If it's like the Kardashians,
You're like, you're
I'm
going to pay
getting
me a
paid.
lot of money for this house. So with you, it would simply come down to whether or not you liked the person.
yeah.
I would at least make it about whether or not they could get me ahead.
I feel like out of all those people, doing Kevin Smith a solid would be better at getting a dude like me ahead.
Well,
than
I was going to
anybody
say,
else.
since the two of us are podcasters, then yes, obviously the guy who is kind of the podfather would be the guy to do a solid for.
Can we we need to use your house for like a month, man.
Yeah, can I get hosted on Smodcast? How about it?
That's all it'd take.
How about other guy as a guest next week?
I Sell Comics has a spot on Smodcast, and we do not.
This is his dream, by the way, is for us to get featured on smodcast.com. That's really all he's working
Wow,
towards
that's
now.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody's got
That's
to
my
have a
mountain to
dream.
climb.
Everybody's got to have a
great.
dream, Andre.
So can I hijack the best?
Well, yeah, but we're not done with the if you could yet. First, though, you've answered it, and I've answered it. If the money is right, then I'm down with it. I want to know, where are you leaning? You're excited about the prospect, or you wouldn't have brought it up.
Let me
probably.
first of all say that the specs for the house, our house does not necessarily match that.
So it's a long
it's not
shot anyway.
4-bedroom. There's no pool. So it's a long. Geographically, we're in the right area.
Right.
That's about what we have to offer. I told my wife I thought it was worth pursuing, mainly because you don't know what's going to come of it. Now, I don't know that you're ever guaranteed to know who they are. If you're dealing with somebody's assistant, they may just say, okay, I'm the assistant. Everything will go through me. You'll never meet these people. You'll never see these people.
Right. I'm going to write you a check, and you're
Correct.
going to hand me keys, and then in a month, I will bring you keys.
Right.
And I will write you another check or
Right.
something. Yes.
For me, the question was more of, are you okay with people being in your house that you don't know who they are? But there is the possibility of gaining something, albeit maybe a small possibility.
Not just monetary, but
Right, but a
potentially,
connection.
connection with somebody. Not, and it's not just star fucking, so to speak. It's not just because they're famous, but specifically, maybe I could get a gig out of this down
Right.
the road. I
And-
could get on somebody's movie because, hey, that nice couple that let us live in their house, they happen to own a casting agency. Imagine
Right.
that.
Exactly.
Have you ever done any primary casting? Are you
Exactly.
interested in maybe doing that all of a sudden? Yeah.
Hey man, if you found out who it was and it was like fucking Kardashians or something, would you like make your home a shrine to them before you left? They'd be like, this dude's a fucking fan.
Now that's a good question. Are you gonna if let's assume that you get it for a moment. I'm gonna put you on the spot here. Are you gonna like prop their DVDs up in the right place, or like
If it was somebody, my guess is that it's not an actor, but like a producer.
Okay.
And so that possibly so. The only thing that I talked to my wife about is we would make two different rules. One is house rule: don't delete anything off the DVR. Like if you can program your own shows in, but do not, like, I have shows that I've been saving up, and so please don't touch those.
please don't. I come from across the sea to watch the American television. I have years and years on this DVR on the magical box in the living room. Do not. The evil demons will come and take it from me. I don't. Please. Please.
Exactly.
Yes.
And then the second one, Rachel, my wife, said Mrs. Romanian. I don't know.
Yes, it's Mrs. Romanian, exactly.
She said,
I would prefer to call her the Gypsy Queen, to be honest.
The Gypsy Queen.
Please, let's call her that.
The Romanian and the Gypsy Queen. I love it.
Yeah.
She's the one who said, we need to take pictures of all your DVDs to make sure that
they're gonna smurf it. Like, they're gonna still. I'm not in this. Like, they take everything except for the DVDs they're in.
Yes.
I love the idea, like Joel Silver, like wandering through your DVDs and be like, Dead Poets Society. It's been a while since I've seen that. I'm gonna take that one. It's a good movie.
That seems to border on paranoia.
Yeah, maybe so.
Too far for me.
Okay, fair enough.
Wow.
That's hilarious. Well, you gotta let us know how that works out, man. I want to know if famous people stay in your house.
Yeah, we'll see.
We've been recording a long time, and we should let you go at some point. But before we do that, we do want to do a best.
You're the best around. Nothing's gonna ever keep you down.
A best.
Who the best to be on TV is?
Oh, yes.
Who is the best bitch in TV land?
You asked me this earlier, and
I thought you had a good one. I didn't even think of that.
Cersei Lannister's got to be high on the list.
Very high, you're right.
Like, I mean, of all time. I mean, that chick conniving. In episode 1, she's responsible for a young boy getting thrown out a window.
Right.
Like, I mean, like right up top, they
I don't
come at you,
consider her
man.
a bitch, man.
Really?
She is mother hen. She is protecting. She's doing what she thinks she has to do to protect her own. Now, that could be misguided. That could come off as she's just a bitch and doesn't know how to deal with her feelings. But she is doing what she believes is right for her children, for her.
Not for her brother.
Yeah, that's maybe not so much in the show. Maybe this is more coming from the books, which I'm reading right now. Book 4 and 5. Like, I'm reading a combined version of them where they put the chapters together. Yeah. They do it in chronological order, so you don't nothing's out of place. But this way, you don't go a whole book without seeing some of the characters.
Sure.
Yeah.
Wow.
So maybe I'm thinking just along those lines. But in the books in particular, like, it's clear. A lot of times, Cersei's not thinking about Joffrey and taking care of Joffrey and Myrcella and Tommen or whatever. She's worried about her and Jaime. And a lot of times, she ain't even worried about Jaime. She's worried about her. Like, she is super, super selfish. Very well written and very well acted. I'm saying she's got to be high on the list of bitches.
Haters gonna hate.
Now, she's not the only one, though. Your show in particular, I said, Andre has a few. Sue Ellen's one of the all-time bitches on television, period.
Yes.
Sue Ellen Ewing, and she had a great season this year. Ran for governor, for God's sakes.
So who you picking, man?
I am.
I mean, this could be of all time.
And
man.
Yes,
and we're talking about a TV character,
Yes.
not like
the person. Right, correct. The character.
Okay, so not like a talk show host.
No.
I'm trying to think who would top Cersei Lannister. Cersei Lannister's going to be hard to top, man. Like, that is a cold, cold chick. Yeah, I'm going to lock that one in as my final answer.
Who do you
Cersei
have,
Lannister.
Romanian?
I'm still pondering in my little brain. Do you have somebody in mind?
I think I've got one I've settled on.
Well, give me some of your also rans at least if you want to build up to it. Then.
I think Samantha's mother from Bewitched.
Whoa!
I fucking hated that.
That's a deep pull, but true, man. She was so terrible.
She was always
to Darren.
making Darren's life fucking. That was her whole goal, was to fuck with this poor guy who already has enough on his plate.
Oh, and if you think about it too, like she was anti him because he was a normie, right? Like he was like she hated the Muggles even before there was such a thing as a Muggle. That's a good one. That's a real good one.
A really good one, yeah.
And another one that I really like, and I'm going to pick this one because I just hate people like this in real life, especially at that age. Fucking Nellie Olson, man. I hate Nellie Olson. She's such a bitch.
Nellie Olson.
Yeah.
You're talking about from Little House on the Prairie.
Yes.
You texted me this. You want to talk about the breadth
Yes.
of humanity that is other guy. This dude, in the same day that he texted me, I'm a fuck yes, my nipples are hard about you being on the show. He also texted me, I love Little House on the Prairie.
Little House on the Prairie it's an amazing show. Michael Landon will drop some daddy on you. I'm telling you, like, if everybody raised their kids like Michael Landon raised them kids,
We'd all be better.
oh, it'd be an amazing place to live. Except, man, that Nellie Olson. Here's the thing:
So which one is Nellie?
She's the blonde Olson Mercantile. That's the general store in town. Her mother is also a cunt, but her dad's real cool, real nice guy. Like, he's real henpecked. So she got it from her mama. But here's the deal. The mom, she's an adult. She's being mean and bitchy to other adults.
Right.
Nellie's a kid, and she's being a fucking bitch. Just horrible to other children. That's unforgivable.
All right, wait a minute. You're telling me that Nellie being a tattletale and being a complainer and a boss.
She's a manipulator. Okay, for example, there's an episode called Cheaters.
But you're saying that's level with Cersei Lannister?
Yeah, it is.
Who connived and cavorted around the Seven Kingdoms?
Yeah, look, I'll lay out an episode just so you understand what I'm talking about.
All right.
Okay, there's an episode of Little House on the Prairie called Cheaters, right?
Where they expose the fact that one of them has been banging the nurse from down.
No, this is Little House on the Prairie.
I'm just saying, I watched Cheaters before. I know what that show's like.
No, this show.
I'm so
amazing.
sorry.
So
he's a scumbucket. There's nothing else to say about it. You don't waste your tears on that guy.
No, but I won't waste tears on Nellie Olson.
All right.
So in this particular episode, they take the school's a one-room school, right? So all their grades are kind of together, and the teacher's an isolated or whatever. But her son is in. Obviously, her son's in school because it's the only fucking school in the state of Oklahoma or wherever the hell they live. Right?
Don't they live in Kansas?
On the prairie, whatever. This is how much I love the show. It doesn't matter where they live to me. But he's not very good in school. He's just not. Like, some kids aren't. Like, he can study, he just doesn't retain it.
All right.
He's just not a very good test taker. He doesn't have good study skills. But he's a nice enough kid, right? Nellie Olson is like up for being like the most academic in the class. Like, she fucking aces everything, right? The Ingalls boy, I can't remember his name. He doesn't have to study as hard, but he's still a pretty good student, okay?
Right.
He likes to go frogging and all this other stuff. But it's the parents are very ashamed of their son because the mother's a teacher and he can't pass the class. Like, it's heartbreaking for the parents. The son knows this. He feels this. He's ashamed of himself. Like, you see this happening to this kid and you know how he feels. So they go to the Mercantile. Obviously, everybody goes to the goods store,
the general store,
store, right? And Mrs. Olson, this bitch, is just being so mean to I think Culver, maybe the teacher's name, because it doesn't matter. It's just being like catty and snooty with her and like, oh well, my Nellie, she's an awesome student, and your son, it must be embarrassing, your son making such poor grades, right?
Right.
And then like Nellie comes out and goes, oh, I'll tutor him, right? Like, I'll help him out. And his mom's like, oh, how funny would that be? My daughter
idiot.
teaching the teacher's son. Oh, haha. We'll be doing the Lord's work. Those who are more fortunate helping those who are less fortunate. Just being a fucking cunt.
Yes, indeed.
And the teacher did the right thing. She goes, she's just didn't take it. She's like, well, I'm leaving, and just doesn't talk to her, as being kind of, catty back to her, which is what fucking Mrs. Olson deserves. But then the husband comes in. Turns out the husband, he's not that smart. Acorn doesn't fall too far from the tree. Right?
All right.
But
he's a hardworking man.
He's a hardworking man, good dude.
Salt of the earth.
Yes. And so he's like, hey, man, he's trying his best, I see him. Don't be mad at him. We don't need to put this pressure on him. And then he's kind of like, well, why did you let your pride get in the way and not take the offer? If it helps the son, that's what's important. Set your pride aside. This is what's best for our kid, and we should always do what's best for our child, right? So she sets it aside, she swallows her pride, and she goes and accepts the offer. Turns out, Nellie, cheater. She's writing the answers on the inside of her jacket and cheating. So all this poor kid learns from her is how to cheat. And so he starts cheating, and he starts making A's, and his parents are fucking proud of him and telling him, all this good things about him. He likes the way that feels, but he doesn't like the way cheating feels, because cheating, people, is wrong.
Yeah. That's way worse than throwing a kid out a window at the top of a tower.
Yeah,
Nellie's a bitch.
Yes.
Nellie's a bitch.
Well, hey, you know
know
what?
what
If she never cheated on Robert, this shit would have never happened.
You know what I'm trying to think of right now? How long is it going to take me to edit down your description of that Little House of the Prairie episode? So
I'm
that it
not
can be
done, my friend.
worthwhile. There's
I'm not
more.
done. Yes.
That's not the resolution.
No, I'm trying to get to the part where she's a real cunt.
All right. It always gets worse than the cheating and the teaching others to cheat.
No, but the way that she manipulates this kid, he's like, well, what if I don't want to cheat? What if I just tell my mom? And she's like, and who's going to believe you? I'm the top of the class and you're an idiot. And this poor kid's like, you're right, I'm an idiot. They'll never believe me. Right? So he falls, like she fucking sucks him in, traps this poor little motherfucker, right? And she's got him for all the way to the very last test, right? And then, of course, Laura Ingalls finds out he's cheating and makes him feel bad about it, but she realizes that the bitch made him do it, so, you know, it all worked out in the end.
Except they didn't stone Nellie at the end of the episode, I'm assuming, right?
No, they fucking tricked her. They used it and then laughed in her face.
I'm still holding out
real good.
I'm still holding out hope that Cersei Lannister dies at some point in the future. So, you know, I want to see that chick bleed.
I want that for Nellie Olson too.
I'm pretty sure they've
12-year-old Nellie Olson. I want them to fucking drag her behind a train.
I'm pretty sure they've stopped making Little House on the Prairie. I think you missed the boat on that one. I'm not positive, but I think it's been canceled. I think it's been canceled.
Yeah,
I
Nellie
get to cast the remake. Though.
Nellie Olson's definitely the biggest bitch.
Now that other guy has given you roughly 30 minutes to come up with your answer, who's your favorite B on TV?
Favorite B on TV is somebody I don't believe is a B, but I know the world in general does.
Okay.
And she is Skylar Walt's wife on Breaking Bad.
Yes, dude. Oh, first of all, I'm really glad that you watched Breaking Bad. I didn't know whether you did or not.
And I love it.
I am not completely current. I haven't seen the last season.
Okay.
Which we're going to watch. Kelly and I are going to watch. Honey Bun and I are going to watch going into season 6 is coming up, right?
Right.
Or the season 5 part 2 or
Right.
however they do it. But wonderful show.
Wonderful.
Another, I mentioned the BS
never seen
report, and you're missing out, dude.
Look, dude, I watch reruns or bad reality TV.
Yeah, you.
Like I'm watching Alf. I'm watching Little House on the Prairie. I'm not shitting you at all. This is what I watch.
He loves some Alf.
Or I'm watching like Deadliest Catch, The Voice, So You Think You Can Dance, Blood and Oil.
My wife's really into reality TV, though weirdly, none of those same shows you just mentioned.
Because they're probably those shows tend to be masculinely geared.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Masculinely geared?
Masculinely geared.
I think that means for penises, is what he meant to say there. Not for vaginas. Skylar is an excellent one because she, like, it's the BS report that I mentioned earlier. They were talking about the relationship between Carmela and Tony in The Sopranos, and how, like, really, like, Mad Men, as great as it is, and there's great acting, great writing, but nothing is like those great scenes between the two of them. Breaking Bad has a bunch of those between Skylar and Walter. Like, as their relationship evolves over the course of the show, those are two top actors working with really, really good material, and they earn it over the course of their relationship. That's a great one, really good one.
I personally love her. I think she's
what she should be for the show.
Yes, she's so
100%.
often an impediment to Walter and his machinations.
That's
like
correct.
That's like Walter wants to go in a direction, and here she is, this dead weight keeping him down.
Right.
And so if you are caught up in the narrative, which is to want Walter to continue to devolve,
right,
then she's in the way. Just like Carmela was so many times for Tony.
Right.
Like, you're like, why that nagging bitch? If she'd just leave him alone, then he could get to his business. His business is doing terrible things to people.
Right.
Like,
no, it's not.
But Tony specifically, Walter's business is not always doing terrible things to people, but it becomes that over the course of the series. Like that series is about how Mr. Cotter turns into Scarface. Like, that is the stated goal of that show. And 4 seasons in, at least, it's a transformation that's already happening. It's an amazing show to watch. I'm going to get you copies of that somehow.
You should definitely check it out. I will say to you, other guy, one of my other candidates for biggest B on TV is from the TV show Alf.
Oh, really?
Yes.
The neighbor?
The neighbor, Mrs. Achmonic.
Yeah.
She's awful.
She is really bad. If you're talking about sitcoms though, while you were talking, I was thinking about Lilith. How did nobody mention Lilith
wow.
from Cheers and Frasier? One of the television's
Yes.
all-time bitches.
Yes.
You could have. You didn't.
Oh, that's a good point. That's a good point. You know what?
Don't put this juju on me.
Since you said that Nelly cheating on Tess was worse than Cersei kicking the dude out of the
Dude, it's the fact that
the
they're
tower.
children, man. Like they made this child character so despicable, man. It's like not only what Nelly is doing is wrong to those kids, what those fucking writers did with Nelly was wrong too.
Joffrey and his siblings are the product of incest.
They're not on the goddamn prairie, are they?
No, they're in the Seven Kingdoms.
In the world of the prairie,
Westeros.
this shit doesn't happen. In the Seven Kingdoms, there's dragons. Fucked up shit happens.
Everything goes down in the kingdoms. All right, we're going to shut this thing down.
Before we go, I want everybody to remind everybody.
Yeah, you want to remind everybody. First off, you got to call the voicemail. That's one thing you should do. You should call the voicemail and you should read us your favorite limerick. That's what we want you to do. We want you to read it slow, read it clearly, so that we can get a good copy of it. See if Google Translate can get it right.
Not necessarily. I mean, read the fucking limerick. Don't read the limerick as if you're
A robot.
right.
I got you. Here's the phone number, 504-613-5635. That's 504-613-5635. Anything you say there on the phone call can be used on the show.
The
Thanks
Man
for
Scout
that.
badge.
And yes, we also want you to continue to submit your idea for the definition of the Man Scouting badge.
Disability awareness.
That's it. Disability awareness. Give us what you think that Man Scouting badge will be. The winner, we're going to make a sticker eventually, and we're going to send those out or send one of those out to the winner.
The post-show
Tag.
this week is going to be the Romanians' reaction to our early sketch of a sticker.
Oh, it could be that, but I also want him to. He's got to say a poem for us.
Oh, great. Great.
Yes. Well, first of all, we should say goodbye, I guess, shouldn't we? Yes, let's do that. All right. So until next week, go to our website, 2guys1pod.com. Email us, 2guys1pod@me.com. And find us on Facebook, facebook.com/2guys1pod. Until next week, I'm one guy.
And I'm the other.
And long-winded. And you have been...
The Romanian.
That's right. And this has been the podcast. I said that I need you to say a poem before we let you off the air.
Yes.
Your mother told us. Is it a song or is it a balena?
It's a poem.
Okay, and it means the whale.
It means the whale. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a Romanian.
Is it balena?
Balena. No, it's not.
No.
But it's close.
Okay.
It's a. I don't know what the purpose of it is, except for what's in my house.
Right. What was the
we
purpose
used it
in your
for.
house?
In our house, my mom would tell it to us before bed,
Right.
as a way to calm you down, but it just ended up scaring the crap out of me. It's the worst. It's not
like you're like it's an actual grim fairy tale.
Yes. It's just
The
like
witch eats kids.
Yeah.
This is fucked up, Mom.
Exactly.
Okay, all
It's
right.
like
I'm excited.
and I'll just quote you the Romanian, and then I'll tell you the English translation.
Excellent.
Okay. Vine balena din zare, marinar, saude? Balena. Balena. That's it. Now it means this. Here comes the whale on the horizon. Sailorman, can you hear it? The whale. The whale.
Let me tell you something. It's wonderful enough getting the performance from Andre, but picture, okay, his mother is like 4 to 6 inches shorter than he is.
Yeah, like about 5 feet tall, maybe.
Skinny little woman, this small little woman, but a big voice, very expressive, and a thick Romanian accent. Romanian accent. So she says, "Oh, Joel, I will tell you, balena." Balena, balena, and I mean, and it was haunting. I'm a grown man. I'm sitting on the backstage, like after a show, I'm in my leggings and stuff, and she's telling me balena, and I'm getting the shivers, like looking at the woods.
That's I'm fairly impressed with me pulling some fucking Romanian shit out of my ass tonight.
Definitely.
Well, how did you know Romanian? What did you say that was Romanian?
Balena.
Yeah.
Oh, you knew what it was?
Yeah.
That's
I knew
because
Balena as well.
you knew that because I had told you that, or he had told you that.
No, I worked at a restaurant called the Balena.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah.
No.
And that's also where I did. They weren't Romanian, but I worked with a bunch of Bulgarians. So a lot of the names I was throwing, like Todor and Biser and Kratzi and those guys, Simeon.
Those are actual Romanians that you knew?
Those were Bulgarians that I knew, and I figured it had to be
Bulgarians.
Very
were
similar. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Look at
Budapest. Oh, that's not Bulgarian. Never mind. Anyway. They're geographically very close.